All right, first and foremost, creator economy. It's the word that we've all been hearing during our Zoom life. But I will tell you, and I love Damien's intro, human creativity is a magical thing. And a lot of our focus at Social Native and really this greater creator economy is centered around empowering human creativity. And that's a beautiful aspect of what's happening today in this generation. People are allowed to create, share, and learn from their audience on what is resonating. That's a very unique experience that never existed a decade ago. So a lot of Social Native is how to empower that creativity and harness it for your brand.
So on a personal level, tell us about your journey. How did you become the CEO of Social Native?
Personal journey is a bit wild. I'm born and raised in Los Angeles. I had a bit of a unique story. I'm the oldest of 6, first generation born outside of Iran. My parents fled for prejudice against Jews in that country. And I grew up very poor, welfare, food stamps, things like that. And I had a big luxury, which was I went to a private school in Beverly Hills. So I was that kid that was on financial aid, but I was exposed to wealth. And I really believe your exposure is everything. And going to a lot of points about our lives and what we choose to do with it, if you take the time to help people that are not as lucky and as fortunate as we are, you can have massive effect. That's what happened to me. And I was born an entrepreneur at an early age, and that eventually brought me to building Social Native. And my primary motivation behind the business was this attention span shift that I saw happening both in my circles and my children. My oldest is 14 now. I grew up sneaking out of my bed on Saturday mornings to watch cartoons on TV. I didn't really have options. I didn't have choices. I just watched what was available. But the new attention span, kids are going up, choosing what they watch whenever they want, wherever they want. And so with that new currency, you have to ask yourself, how can I maintain their attention span? I need to find new ways to create content. And so that led to the birth of the organization.
So you mentioned the creator economy. I was recently watching something on television, and it called it the hustle economy. It sounds a lot like where you were from back in the day to where you are now. So I think there's something there about this creator economy also becoming a hustle economy and turning into entrepreneurship. So I think that's fabulous. Talk to me a little bit about what are some of the current priorities that Social Native has for the company right now?
Funny enough, we didn't plan this, but the hustle economy is one of our priorities. So we have an internal mandate on the amount of income we generate for our creators. And it's not a mandate around 100%, which you might see from other marketplaces like Uber, where they want you driving full time. We're focused on secondary sources of income. So for us, you could be an attorney, you could be waiting tables, you could be a stay-at-home mom, whatever it is that you're doing on a day-to-day. We want to create a secondary source of income for you, centered around creativity. And it doesn't always have to be income, just to give some perspective. Some people are already organically creating content on behalf of the brands they love. So our ability to do rights management and then utilize that content on brand channels is another form of currency. It doesn't have to be money. So for example, this young man here creates some content around Adidas. He gets featured on their homepage. That's pretty exciting. And that has value to both the creator and to the brand. But as we progress and grow the business, and as the creator economy progresses and grows, we're very focused on the hustle economy. And then one more point is on the brand side is helping brands really understand that the customer journey has changed. And in that evolution, how do we speak to this new generation of people that care to hear more from their peers than they do from the brands themselves?
It has definitely changed. We all know that we're kind of still in the pandemic now, but so much has changed in terms of influencer marketing and UGC. What are some of the challenges that you're facing right now with influencer marketing or even UGC content?
I'd say we're challenged with the same things you all are challenged with. There's so many names and they all mean something else to someone else. Like, what is an influencer? What is UGC? What is creator economy? And there are many different shades to this color. So what I would encourage everyone to think about, and a lot of what we preach at Social Native, is the creator economy is the opportunity to activate human creativity. It's really a beautiful thing. It could be an influencer with a lot of followers. It could be someone who's not an influencer and doesn't have a lot of followers. But if they can make something really compelling and interesting for your brand, that's exciting. And I sat down with a president of a large brand recently who shared with me that a young kid made a TikTok video and sold out their product in retail stores. And this is a $2,000 product, sold out nationally. They couldn't replicate it, right? They tried, right? But there's beauty and there's magic in that authenticity. And so that's a massive opportunity for all of us, especially those of us who have prized brands.
So what can brands like my brand that I work for, Hulu, do in partnership with social native? What are some things that some of the takeaways here that brands should think about?
My 9-year-old this morning asked me to tell you that it would be nice if Hulu had Harry Potter.
Okay, I'll take that note back to our programming team.
I was like, are you sure they don't have it? Let's Google it before I say something. But he's going to love that. Look, the way that I think about it, Hulu is such a good example. It's like Hulu, so we're all hanging out. It's like, oh, what are you watching? Oh, well, you should check this show out, right? Like that virality of that authentic, like, I like this show, that's why you should check it out, is very powerful. There are plenty of shows that everyone here can talk about forever and very likely influence me to watch them. But are we harnessing that? Are we taking that and saying, hey, this is awesome. This person loves this show with real enthusiasm. How do I partner with this individual? Whether or not they have 100 million followers or 10,000 followers, that's kind of a new currency that we've all fallen into. The real question is, are they passionate? Do they really love it? And if so, are they creative? And if they are, that message will resonate with a lot of people.
Are you noticing any of the challenges right now in your business with the data and privacy laws that are changing?
Yes, more so on the media side. But in our world, I'll tell you what I've seen some brands unlock that I think is interesting. They're activating very large volumes of people to create very diverse content. And as a result, even though they can't necessarily target with that level of granularity, the content itself naturally is targeting. And I just want to go a little deeper so everyone gets it. If you make content for Mattel and you have a dad playing Barbie and you have a mom playing Barbie, that piece of content will resonate with different audiences. And so that allows you to do targeting. And this is something that you'll hear from me, you'll hear from Facebook, you'll hear from many other players in this space. As targeting becomes more and more restricted and data becomes an unknown, how do you use creative to reach every audience?
And so I was snooping around on your website, obviously. I'm in social media, that's what I do. And I noticed that you all had a lot of great case studies. Can you tell everyone here maybe what's the campaign that your team has worked on that you're most proud of or that's most memorable? Anything you want to share?
Yes, I have a lot. I will say that I get a lot of letters from creators, and those have very high impact on me. So to give you an example, there's a pastor in Tennessee that lowered his salary at the church based on the secondary source of income that he earned from our business. It's not any one campaign, he's done many, but that impact for me is like really, really powerful. And I would say also for the brands out there, it's really powerful. These are real people, they're your customers, and we're empowering them to help you drive sales. It's amazing. Everyone's a partner in that journey. But if I were to just pick one, this is more an internal like chaos version for those of you who have worked at smaller companies. We partnered with a large auto brand several years ago, and we agreed to do a launch in 8 countries, of which we were only active in 1, the United States. So we had to translate the entire marketplace into 3 other languages, and the team was having a heart attack. I was on a high because this is like the stuff that I love. But we managed to execute. And the reason why I mentioned it is a story that was exciting. One, it's exciting to push the limits and boundaries of any organization or any team. But fast forward 3 years later, we acquired a company called Holifield, for those of you who have used that platform. And they have a team in Argentina. So when I called legal counsel in Argentina as part of our M&A transaction, the lead attorney who's charging me a healthy sum was like, oh, I did the social native Microsoft campaign. And I was like, what, for real? He's like, yeah. So he's charging me God knows how much hourly, but he was passionate about creating content for Microsoft. He was an amateur photographer and all this kind of stuff. And for me, that was really beautiful because I got to see how pushing the envelope alongside a brand partner and within my own organization managed to empower people in other countries in ways I never thought we could.
So speaking of pushing the envelope, obviously the metaverse is the buzzword of not even the year, just the decade right now. Is Social Native planning anything in the metaverse industry world?
When Damien said we were all here and it's awesome, I was like, are we? Do we all just have helmets on in our bedrooms? Yes, we are. And the focus there is very, very similar to where we are in the business. We have individuals that create amazing still images. We have individuals who make great short form video, and there's many different flavors of that, like vertical video and so on. But why can't we open our marketplace to others? And those others could be individuals who make NFTs. So for those of you who are thinking about creating them, do you have a team who can do so? Do you want to activate freelancers like what we do? And for the metaverse. So for us, the way that I look at the marketplace is not by any specific thing like, hey, Dave, we need content for e-com or we need content for social, but it's more of, I want to activate this creator economy to do X. And whatever that X is, it's our job to go out and curate and build that group of individuals in a way that's seamless so that you can activate them on a platform.
Okay, this is a curveball, so we did not prepare this, so give them some grace. How do you think influencers will work in the metaverse world? Do you think like it'll be the same way it is now?
How are influencers going to work in this world? I own a building not far from here, and someone applied, and their title was influencer. Right? And the management team sent it to me. They're like, "Hey, this guy works in Social Native." I look at this thing, and it's like, he's got income from 4 or 5 different places, and that's how they pay their bills. It's interesting to see. I don't imagine it'll be any different in the metaverse. The metaverse is really like, as my son says, in the year 2030, actual reality. People will come back to like living in the real world. We're just going to go live in the metaverse. You will all have your own avatars, and people will have influence like they do in this world. It's not any different. What's beautiful about that world is that it's limitless, so that we can do the same meeting in Paris without taking a flight. But in terms of social encounters and the way we influence one another, I doubt that'll change in any way.
They'll just get paid in Bitcoin.
Yeah, and like if you think about Bored Ape and all this other stuff, that's no different than pulling up here in a McLaren. Like it's a currency. You show up in your nice car, and it's like, oh, that's what Bored Ape is to us now. Like, oh, you want a Bored Ape? Bought it for $5 million. It's just a currency.
Okay, well, it's Super Bowl week. So are you excited about a team, or are you just here for the halftime act?
I'm here for the halftime act, but has anyone here been to the SoFi Stadium? Yeah, that is just like a fantastic experience. So for those of you who might be attending the Super Bowl, I'm super jealous. That stadium is a must attend. It is fantastic. I won't say any names of teams so that I could sell to both sides.
All right, well, last question, and this is a fun one. If you could add one more iconic musician to the halftime act, who would it be?
Can we bring him back, or?
I mean, yeah, sure.
I would do anything to go to a Michael Jackson concert. Anything, like that would be so epic.
Like, Michael Jackson is not from LA. It has to be somebody from LA.
So the Tupac references are like, but you know what's crazy? I listen to Tupac still. I used to listen to it as a kid, and now I can't listen to it with my kids in the car. It's like, it's absurd. If you put on the, no bad words, there's no song.
Well, thanks everybody. Thanks for having us.
What do we do? We lost our QB. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, do you have a question? I'm just raising your hand. I love you too. Can we throw some questions at Tatiana while she's up here? Yes, go ahead. The tools are to create. Yeah, so that's a fantastic, like more in the weeds question. Look, on the creator side, we do a lot of partnerships with parties like Adobe and so on who have tools. In this new version, we haven't picked a partner as of yet because I don't think there's a clear leader. But in time we will. And The way that we do it is we survey our creator base. So as we onboard more and more creators who are well versed in this new form of creation, we survey what tools they use. And then in time, as a business, we go out and set a partnership with those tools and provide that resource to new creators. And part of our business is educating the next generation of creators on how to make the best content. So that would apply in the same way. But I would warn this audience, we've seen this before, we get really excited about a buzzword and we're all into it. And then it kind of goes back 5 steps. So I'm somewhat sensitive to that because I don't want to bring thousands of people on a journey that might not generate sustainable income for them. And I'm just saying that with like full sincerity. So by us, we still emphasize pictures and videos because that's where we know the brands are going to consistently spend. And then we really nurture this new world, but at this point are not facilitating very large transactions there.
That's a really good question, though. On the brand side, I know we are always trying to find what are those tools to accurately measure the ROI of those influencer relationships, right? Obviously, pre-pandemic, oftentimes social was added value and just thrown on additionally, right? And now it is a key part of our marketing mix. And so we have to be able to justify the dollars that we're spending. And when you have a one TikTok person who wants $60,000 for a 15-second video, of course you're like, wait, I'm in the wrong industry, number one. But 2, how do I justify this back to my CEO or the powers that be on why we're spending that much and what is the ROI and the value? So I do think whatever leading tool that is that can really, really find a way to put that in place will certainly be they're onto something.
Let's go deeper on the ROI side because it is tough. You hire someone for $60K on TikTok, did it work, did it not work? If you look at the entire customer journey as part of the creator economy, not just one influencer activation, which I think is, we're all raised that way. In the beginning, we would buy one publisher. Now we buy on exchanges. So that there is an evolution happening around us. But try to think of it as the beginning, the top of the funnel, when they find you on social. How do you maintain that journey? Then you can really track ROI. So if I have this TikToker who creates content, where does it go to? When it goes to that domain, let's just say the e-commerce PDP page, I'm picking that up. Do you have creator content on that page, or are you just throwing them into some funnel? And you'll find, and we find this across all of our customers, those who embrace this quality of content across the entire journey see massive, massive impact. Does that make sense? So like you discover it on social, but then your e-commerce channel also has social attributes to it. We have a carousel that we give our customers to go through that UGC engine and then drive them to a sale. That form of native social content is the name of the company, Social Native.
Look at that. It came around 360. I appreciate it.
Yeah, just always.
Well done.
Oh, welcome back.